kicking off with Friday's Telegraph. Carey, an exciting news for the UK as we break yet another record.
We're on asylum seekers. Now, I mentioned that asylum seekers were going to come up again just a few moments ago because I am psychic.
Because you wanted people to come back.
Yes.
You knew they wanted to come back to the asylum seeker section.
I knew that. It's my power. But before we talk about legal immigration, now we're on illegal immigration. We are. And so the UK asylum seekers bill hits a record of 5.4 billion.
Cha-ching!
That's the bill to put them up in hotels and so on, which has jumped by 20% in just 3 months, and it's costing the taxpayer more than £4 million a year. Now, £4 million a year. Now, I'm a taxpayer and I have not got £4 million a year. Look at my shoes; they're falling apart. You know.
Forget the 20%. No, forget the 20%. The hotels have gone up, but the total cost has gone up 38% in just 1 year.
Yes, that's a lot, though.
That's a lot of money.
Yes,
that's a lot of old people. Cold.
Yeah, and we're also being told that it was originally up to September it was Afghans, Iranians, and Syrians, but now since then the major group of asylum places are being taken by Vietnamese, and the Afghans, Iranians, and Syrians are complaining, saying, "Oh, the Vietnamese are taking our asylum places." Yeah. You know.
Well, this is DEI at work, I think, isn't it? With got to keep it fair.
Yes.
Want to put it across the spectrum.
Yeah.
It mentions here that it talks about in 2019-20, where they spent only 940 billion, so not 5.4 billion, but only 940 million.
Practically.
And those are just, Adam, those are the good old days.
Oh, the good old days. Just millions. Just the
940 million is nothing.
I have that in my back pocket right now.
Yeah.
So
we'll pay you too much.
Well, you're taller than me.
Mm-hmm. It's all the money.
Yeah.
I knew that's what was going on.
So, obviously, this is a huge jump. This can't be... I know a lot of people want to go, oh, Labour, 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 but the fact is this has been rising for a long time.
Yeah.
The question is, what are Labour going to do about it? Of course, Keir Starmer had a press conference. That's a great start.
Yes, yeah.
That's a great start.
Because you've got to say we're going to do something about it.
Yeah.
But the truth is, no one knows what they're actually going to do, or rather than really know, no one knows what's going to work. And the other thing that keeps happening is every time we hear these figures, they keep getting revised. Whoever's doing the figures keeps discovering more asylum people in the country. And that's amazing for, we're a tiny, a relatively small country, and we don't even know what's happening in our own country. I mean, the small boats turn out to be quite small numbers compared to the loosening of visa rules.
Yeah, but this is costing us a lot of more money.
Yes.
And
money.
6%, in 6 years, 3% of people who arrive by small boats have been returned. That's an impressive figure, isn't it? 3%. Don't you think?
Yeah.
So, am I impressed?
Are you impressed by 3%?
That's a great rate for a mortgage.
Impressed me than
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't think 3% is an impressive
failure, I would say.
Oh, that's a failure. Interesting. Well, we all have our different perspectives. I'm now going to be getting some messages.
Do you think it's a great 3% to you? Are you really...
Go!
Wow.
3%!
Well, this is why you're not in government.
Guardian next. Kerry, this is going to mess your weekend up, isn't it?
Nigel Farage suggests MPs should debate rolling back abortion limit. No, Josh, I'll live with it.
OK.
I feel completely detached.
I just thought your plans might change somehow.
So at the party leaders' conference today, they've all decided to have suddenly... I suppose he just had to come out with something different. He's running out of ideas to put forward right now. So
everybody's taking his immigration thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I've said before, I think babies...
I give it 6 months until Keir Starmer has a press conference about the abortion limit.
Yeah, totally, yeah. It's going to get around. I've said before, babies are the worst kind of immigrants anyway. I don't approve of them. They don't speak the language. They take about 16 years to learn how to stack a shelf. But, yeah, they're my body, my choice. So what he wants to do is to bring down the limit. It's currently at... was it 24 weeks?
It is 24 weeks.
And he wants it all back to 22 weeks. That's a huge difference.
Is 2 weeks a big difference, do you think?
I mean, it depends. As a baby, maybe.
When you were pregnant, did you find that?
I mean, second time I was pregnant.
No, I think he's not saying 22. He's just saying that we now say babies at 22. But the issue here is that most people actually, if they have abortions, they have it at 10 weeks.
90% of abortions, yeah.
The ones that happen at that 22, 24 are people,
often horrifying.
Unfortunately, are really, babies with birth defects who wouldn't necessarily live were they to go through full term.
Yeah.
So, you know what it feels like to me, I don't know why he suddenly jumped on this. I mean, this, to be fair, was a question to him. But it feels like, is this somehow appealing to the American right?
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to copy some of the policies from the Republican Party. I think when I first saw this, my gut feeling was, look, let's leave the never-ending abortion debate to the states. We've got it here. Yeah. We don't need to even give this airtime. Let's just...
So you don't want us to discuss it?
No, not...
No, I think, look,
Adam's getting very controlling, isn't he?
But I think that you're right in that Nigel Farage says here that this seems to be something that people at home, to debate things that people at home talk about. I don't think that, abortion in this country is a resolved issue. No, I don't think people at home are talking about it.
We don't have the religious pressure in this country, so, and it is in America, it's a very, Christian-based thing, so, but can I say that the story is also, it's an odd story, this, because it's mixed...
do your abortion jokes, I know you want to.
I'm not going to, I'm holding back.
Okay.
But if you'd like to see the extras after the show, then tune in. We charge extra for that. So this story is kind of two stories in one, because it's about the abortion thing, but it's also about the Conservative Minister, Andrea Jenkins, who's become the latest recruit to reform. She has moved over, and of course that looks good for Farage to say they've taken another Tory across. She's the one who got in trouble, I think it was a year ago or so, 2 years ago, with she gave the finger to the press.
See, I liked her. I liked it.
She was slagging reform off. I think it's good.
Yeah?
Gesture away.
I've never understood the finger as an offensive gesture, because it seems to backfire when someone, used to come with the words.
Don't do it on air.
I was just about to.
It's that the other way around, but without the other fingers. And it used to be accompanied with the words "sit on it and swivel," which I always think you come out worse.
Yes.
If someone takes you up on it...
Then I would say the sitting on it is bad, but the swivelling with that might loosen...
They go home with a smile. You have a dirty
finger. Not good. Right, Fridays, Mail Adam and the BBC continues its outstanding track record of being a great place to work for its Jewish employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so this is from the Daily Mail. BBC journalists quit union in protest after it urged them to wear Palestinian colours or headdress to mark the Day of Action for Palestine. This is basically Jewish staff members at the corporation were left shocked after being invited to take part in the protest set up by the umbrella union organisation Trades Union Congress. So obviously there's a conflict as well, because this asking anyone or journalists to take part in this, especially with the BBC, does sort of violate all the sort of strict impartiality guidelines. As soon as I read this, I just thought, I thought the big thing that everyone says on Twitter, right-wing Twitter, would be, the Jews control the media, and it seems like,
What?
I know. It's just, we control headliners.
Right.
That's the only part of the media that we control. The rest of it, the Jews don't control them.
Right, fine, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, just the idea of it just seems very insensitive, and I don't know. I think that any sort of political posturing, no matter whose side it's on, should be kept to a minimum.
Yes.
Impartial. Do they know what impartial means?
No, it means dressing up in Palestinian flag colours on Thursday.
I heard on the BBC, it was a web thing today, and they were talking about Israel's war with Lebanon. Even the wording I'm hearing with everything, like Israel started a war with Lebanon.
Not Hezbollah firing, 80,000 rockets over the last year into Israel, unprovoked.
Hundreds of thousands, millions. I don't know what it was now anymore. We've lost count.
It was billions.
Starting from October the 8th, so the day after the Hamas attack, they were attacking Israel, which went on for months. I'm also hearing lots of news about how people in Lebanon are returning to South Lebanon. But there's very little news about almost a million Israelis who were forced out of northern Israel.
Who are still not back in their homes.
Who are still not back, and they won't be back for some while. And then, really the whole thing, and then there's some stuff here about 135 Palestinian journalists killed since October the 7th. I don't know why they're bringing that in here, but
it's just not true.
It's not true, and B, Hamas were found to have a whole load of press vests which they used to pretend they're press anyway.
Having an iPhone does not make you a journalist, and I know that.
You are correct.
I've got the iPhone.
What I'd say is that unions and businesses, certain types of businesses, need to stay in their lane. We've seen this over and over again. Long before all this happened, the Women's March in the US, that was a march against Trump, and it became anti-Israel. And then the BLM movement, which we all know what that was about, but it became all about anti-Israel. Equity, the British Actors Union, is now so anti-Israel. They're putting out stuff about apartheid, colonialism, genocide. They're offering money for members to have court cases.
So many Jewish people I know, actors, friends of mine, have left
But their job is to
because of it.
represent people in this country who are in the arts, and instead they're becoming all about Israel. Everything is about
Sorry,
Israel.
but here's the dangerous point that I want to raise. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have to raise it. The difference is about the arts is we're talking about journalism. These are the people we get our news from.
Sure, but I'm saying that there's a whole load of people who need to stay in their lane. Unions that represent one thing, movements that represent something internal within a country, and are becoming about a conflict 2,000
Luckily,
miles
I'm
away.
incredibly impartial.
Yeah.
So I definitely stay in my lane.
We all know that about you, Josh.
Yeah, everyone knows that, Josh.
Right, heading to the Mail now, Adam, where Sadiq Khan flirts with his body, trying to get the best deal for Londoners.
Yeah, and by flirts with his body, just a very warm hug, I think, wasn't it? This is from the Daily Mail. Sadiq Khan gives union boss Mick Whelan a hug at the launch of the London Overground's 6.3 million woke rebranding. Now, I'm actually a beneficiary of this woke rebrand because I, today, on the way to the studio, came in on the Windrush line.
Has it been changed already, then?
Yes. Okay. According to the announcement, the service and everything else was exactly the same. I can say that it has not improved in that sense, but the colour, I think, was also the same. But yeah, this is good. I mean, there's 6.3 million well spent. I'm glad they didn't spend it on improving the service in any sort of real terms. I wouldn't have liked that.
Yes.
Or reduce the cost of the tickets.
That would have been a waste of money.
It would have been a waste of money.
New trains in and all that.
Yeah. I mean, there's only a certain amount, you can do in Croydon as someone who lives there.
Change of a word is good as a holiday.
Absolutely.
So there's two stories here, right? I believe.
Well, the first story is about the hug, in which Sadiq Khan hugged the union boss Mick Whelan, and during it, Mick whispered in his ear, "Thanks for the pay rise, my people." Allegedly.
I mean, do we want them hugging? We don't want. What I'm saying is, we don't want hugs with the union bosses. We want, if we think he's doing a good job, we want him rocking up and maybe a cold handshake, or even you bosses with your union
in those
drivers.
exact words.
But a big hug suggests that they're calling each other. Oh, are you going to let me have a little bit of a rise?
Yeah.
I'm okay with the hug, but I'm a bit younger, I guess. Just spend the money where it needs to be spent, not just on changing the colours of the lines. Just improve the service.
Is it like a fetish, this hug thing of yours?
Huh? No, anyone under the age of 45, I think, just
very quickly.
So the other story is really about just the change of the lines and whether it's the underground getting very woke and so on. Where is the white men line? That's what we want to know.
I think that's every other line.
Transport line. They could have done one of those. That would have been quite nice.
I would have taken that.
I know, but
then I'd feel totally different about this story.
Yeah, but then the left now regret all that.